Good day everyone, my name is Jessie Alina and today I will be presenting on environmental challenges and solutions from both a local and global perspective, focusing on Kiranganj, Dhaka. Environmental issues such as climate change, air pollution, poor waste management, and ozone depletion affect millions of people every day. Although these problems occur worldwide, their impacts can clearly be seen in our communities. Throughout this presentation, I'll explain how these environmental challenges affect Keranganj, discuss scientific evidence behind them, and explore practical solutions that can help create a healthier and more sustainable future. To begin, here's a brief overview of what I'll be discussing today. First, I'll explain how climate change is affecting Kiranganj and why these local changes are connected to global climate patterns. Next, I'll discuss two major air pollutions that significantly affect the Dhaka region and examine their impacts on both human health and the environment. After that, I'll explain why sustainable waste management is essential and evaluate the current waste management practices in our community. I'll also address two common myths about climate change and explain why scientific evidence disproves these misconceptions. Finally, I'll discuss the importance of protecting the ozone layer before concluding with key lessons and recommendations. Climate change is no longer a distant issue. It is something people in Kiranganj experience regularly. One noticeable impact is the increase in extreme heat. Rising temperatures make summers longer and hotter, increasing health risks such as hydration and heat exhaustion. Another major issue is flooding. During heavy monsoon rains, poor drainage systems combined with intense rainfall often cause severe waterlogging throughout Kiranganj. As you can see on the picture added, this is how our area and community looks during the floods. And I also want to mention families with lower incomes are usually affected the most because they have fewer resources to recover after disasters. These local experiences demonstrate how climate change directly impacts everyday life. To understand these local impacts, it's important to understand what causes climate change. Earth naturally contains greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane that trap heat and keep our planet warm enough to support life. However, human activities have dramatically increased these gases. Burning fossil fuels, deforestation, transportation, factories, and industrial activities release large amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. As you can see, I have also added how warming contribution of carbon dioxide is around 80%. As greenhouse gas concentration rise, more heat becomes trapped, causing global temperatures to increase. This warming contributes to rising sea levels, stronger storms, longer droughts, ecosystem disruption, and biodiversity loss worldwide. In other words, what happens globally eventually affects communities like Kiranganj. Addressing climate change requires action at the local and global levels. Locally, Karaganj can improve flooding-resistant infrastructure, expand rooftop gardens and urban green spaces, encourage solar energy, and strengthen community disaster preparedness. Globally, governments continue reducing greenhouse gas emissions through renewable energy, energy-efficient technologies, and international agreements such as the Paris Agreement. These combined effects can slow climate change while helping communities become more resilient to its impacts. Um, Air pollution is another serious environmental challenge facing Dhaka and Keranganj. The first major pollutant is particulate matter, especially PM2.5 and PM10. These tiny particles mainly come from brick kilns, vehicle emissions, construction dust, and industrial activities. Because these particles are extremely small, they easily enter our lungs and bloodstream. The second pollutant is nitrogen dioxide. Um, the, which is mainly produced by heavy traffic, diesel vehicles, and fossil fuel combustion. As a result, Dhaka frequently records air quality index levels that are considered unhealthy according to international health standards. Air pollution affects both people and the environment. From a health perspective, it increases asthma, respiratory infections, heart disease, and lung problems. Children, elderly individuals, and outdoor workers are especially vulnerable because they spend more time breathing polluted air. Environmentally, pollutants damage crops, reduce biodiversity, and worsen climate change. Beyond health impacts, poor air quality also reduces productivity and places additional pressure on healthcare systems. Improving air quality benefits everyone. I would also like to add that these pollutants cause acid disposition or acid rain. Waste management is about much more than simply collecting garbage. Proper waste management protects natural resources through recycling and reduces pollution. It also lowers methane emissions from landfills. Methane is an extremely powerful greenhouse gas that contributes significantly to global warming. Sustainable waste management also supports the circular economy, where materials are reused and recycled instead of discarded. This reduces environmental damage while creating economic opportunities through recycling industries and green jobs. Although waste collection exists in Keranganj, several important challenges remain. Many areas still rely on open dumping. Plastic waste frequently blocks drains and canals, making flooding much worse during heavy rainfall. Open burning of waste releases harmful toxic gases into the air. Several practical improvements could make a significant difference. These include separating household waste, increasing recycling programs, constructing sanitary landfills with methane capture systems, and expanding composting for organic waste. These actions would improve public health while protecting the environment. Many misconceptions about climate change prevent meaningful action. The first myth is that climate change is simply part of Earth's natural cycle. While Earth's climate has changed naturally throughout history, scientific evidence clearly shows that today's rapid warming is mainly caused by human activities, especially greenhouse gas emissions. The second myth is that individual actions don't matter. In reality, while one person's actions alone cannot solve climate change, millions of people making sustainable choices together can create significant change. Public support also encourages governments and businesses to adopt stronger environmental policies. This slide highlights the importance of the ozone layer. The ozone layer protects life by absorbing harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Thanks to the Montreal Protocol, countries worked together to phase out ozone-depleting chemicals called CFC or CFCs. This agreement is considered one of the world's greatest environmental success stories because it not only protects the ozone layer but also helps reduce climate change. To conclude, environmental challenges such as climate change, air pollution, and poor waste management affect both local communities and the entire planet. Keranganj clearly demonstrates how global environmental problems create local consequences. However, we have also seen that practical solutions exist. Governments, communities, businesses, and individuals all have important roles to play. Simple actions like reducing waste, recycling, planting trees, conserving energy, and supporting clean energy can collectively make a significant difference. Protecting the environment is a shared responsibility, and the choices we make today will shape the future for generations to come. Thank you very much for your attention. I'd be happy to answer any questions as well. As you can see, these are the academic and scientific sources I've used throughout this presentation, including the course textbook and additional credible resources from international organizations. For your convenience, I've also added the exact paragraphs, sections, page numbers as much as possible from all the sources used in the slides, and they're all aligned accordingly to the 7th edition referencing. Thank you once again for listening. I appreciate your time and attention. And just so you can see, I've also added the image sources from where all the pictures have been collected from. Thank you very much for your time once again.